All right, so you are on this outcropping above the what appears to be the broken obelisk of Ilium. Uh, what is it you're doing?
Well, Titus is getting up from imagine sobbing on the ground, um, and I for some reason think everything's covered in ash a little bit. Like it's just kind
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, it just gets into everything.
Yeah. So the weird kind of streaks down the face, the light dusting of ash that just happens to exist everywhere.
Hmm.
Um, and Titus will basically say, "I'm have a very good idea of who's behind this."
Yes, uh, I know where your mind is going. Uh, However, the question remains, how would any of these people have gotten here?
Norlem is not a being without power. He perhaps found a way through however long ago.
Um, True. We should we should go look, see if there are any more clues down there. Although the imminent danger of more being around is pretty apparent, I'd say.
It's not clearly obvious from this distance with the because it's bodies. It's not I like super obvious what killed them, right?
Um,
Can assume maybe explosion or something like that, kind of based on the array, but
yeah, there's an arrangement that looks like explosion-y stuff happened.
mhm.
You said they were more skeletal than.
Yeah, you see some remains that look blasted and skeletal.
That's not
And
all of them, that's just some of them then?
Yeah, I mean there's variation,
Okay,
but it looks like there was some kind of explosive thing that happened outward from the center.
sure.
Why don't we get a little closer and see? Get a little closer down there to inspect
Yeah,
the
well,
bodies.
be on your guard, and uh, we may
who's
need to
talking?
retreat if this unstable obelisk is uh, too detrimental, like for us.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
Hawthorne
say
will.
Yes, Hawthorne. I agree.
I
I understand.
this is probably through a nice ear splitting, or sorry, headache, kind of as it's pulsing throughout. Do we want to send the scout that is not affected by whatever sort of energy wave this thing's pushing out before we go?
She will come with us.
Well,
All right, I'm gonna call this an operation. So we'll do an engagement roll to see how it plays out. So you pick the plan. Uh, it could be infiltrate. I could see it could be just investigate.
Well,
um,
Titus has three. Jared has three dots in engage, so clearly,
I mean, we can't make everything an engage.
Well, an engagement roll is not the same as
Oh yeah,
rolling engage.
no, that's true. That is a good question. How quick looking at our options, but I mean, investigation seems the most honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless you're clearly trying to sneak in.
I think we're just on guard. I don't think we are necessarily. We have no reason to suspect that one there was anybody here, well, previously, but now, like, they could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Somebody beeped.
Wasn't me.
Oh, okay. So I will.
I think investigate is.
That seems to be the. Yeah.
And
That's
the
first and
detail
foremost.
you
We want more
choose.
information about the bodies.
Yep.
Find a target or solve a mystery. Yeah, that's kind of. I mean. Yeah, it's not socialized. We're not really chasing anything. We could just attack the giant crystal.
Not yet.
Discharge. That
Assault.
seems kind of like, yeah. So you're investigating, and so the detail you choose is the trail you follow, or are you just kind of walking down there? Or are you doing anything sneakier?
Oh, go ahead.
I would say the only declaration is keeping a distance from the obelisk itself. Is like not coming too
You're gonna
close to it, but yeah,
circle around?
orbiting,
Kind of
finding
orbiting
anything we
around,
can.
moving in as necessary, but basically, yeah, kind of outer circle, gather what, and then kind of spiraling, maybe kind of closer as necessary to find more information.
Okay. I'm going to roll 2 dice for an engagement roll.
That seems reasonable. I'm just making sure we have no special abilities for that, but no. Okay, cool. Yep.
I don't think so.
No, we don't. I was just double checking.
See how that goes. And it's a 5.
Hey.
So you are in a risky position as you approach. So you kind of work your way down. You don't go directly in. You kind of circle around a bit. But at some point, you're going to be approaching through this kind of blasted. Houston, you're having some trouble with your video.
I just turned it off and back on.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, let's hope that
Yeah.
that
Because
stays.
it was freezing again.
All right, if it keeps happening, you might have to quit out of Discord and then come back in, which is what I had to do last session, and it fixed things. So we'll see. So eventually, you're going to have to work your way into this campsite or remains of this encampment. Again, it was large, or looks like there was places for lots of people laid out in what was originally a pretty neatly arranged set of what looked like mostly tents and carts and things like that. Those have been blasted apart and burned. So something fiery happened. There's still places where, sort of underneath, there's still embers and little bits of smoke coming out. So it looks like this happened a long time ago, but not that long ago.
I'm keeping an eye on the sky for dragons.
Keeping an eye on the sky for dragons. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Although in this game, you remember the assumption is that you're competent and you don't have to
I know, but
pay everything you're doing to be careful. So
this looks ridiculously like season 8 of Game of Thrones right now, and I'm waiting for a tiny little blonde on a dragon to sail by. It's like,
Yep. Only in this case, you're on this weird unicorn thing. Are you right? As you're coming into this blasted encampment, are you riding or are you walking? Did you leave your critters behind?
I would leave mine behind.
Okay. Rest of you as well.
how smooth is it? Is it an easy thing to get the beast, or is it awkward?
To get the beast, I'm not sure.
To get the beast
It's
down
a-
there,
Yeah.
the path.
Oh, you'd be able to do that.
Then
I'm assuming these creatures have pretty good
I'm staying
ability
on mine.
to travel over difficult terrain.
I think Titus would like to remain on his beast for now.
Okay. So you're in, I'm going to say that you're in the kind of encampment area, looking through. You see, looking for evidence. Basically, you've seen the remains of some gaze hounds. It looks, as far as you can tell, they were not attacking. That they may have been guarding this place.
Or
And
captive.
then there was some kind of blast that pretty much just killed everybody. So there are lots of remains and burned tents, etc. And Ravi has, you've all been careful. I think Ravi says, what notices, calls your attention to a large set of footprints. And
How large?
pretty large.
Like Bigfoot? Kind of
Big-
large? Or...
Bigger than that.
Okay.
Okay. And as you're seeing that, as she is calling that out, and you're taking a look at, there's kind of footprints running through. Um, one of your beasts makes a loud screeching sound, and you see not, maybe a couple 100 feet away, there's a sort of big mud flat area, and out of that muddy area, you see something forming, and you see some very large bones, like dinosaur-sized bones, just kind of pulling up out of the mud and starting to form a skeletal structure, and then pieces of mud and tent and bits of bodies and things such as just kind of get pulled toward this, and sort of through some kind of telekinetic process, a large beast thing starts to form, and you hear in your head Ithacus says, "That looks like a titan." And what forms is a giant beast. It looks kind of dinosaur-ish. It's got a long tail and a long head. It's got a couple of extra arms beyond what a dinosaur would have, and it's got a glowing crystalline thing where its eye would be. And it looks
Just one eye?
You.
Cyclops.
Yeah, it has one eye in the center of its head.
Okay.
And it turns its giant head toward you and roars. So that's what the risky position we established is working out to be. Some kind of giant thing that was formed out of the mud and guck of this place. What are you doing?
Mika slides off her mount, walks forward, and roars back.
With her little
with
Mika voice?
With her spike voice.
With her spike voice. Okay,
And,
so bigger voice than
and
Mika.
I'm leaning in on smooth talker.
I'm sorry?
I'm leaning in on my smooth talker power.
Okay.
So I've talked my way out of multiple confrontations. I get a +1 to social interactions with hostiles if needed. So I'm like, okay, hi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that sounds like an action roll.
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to achieve?
I'm trying to make some kind of positive connection.
Okay, so you're trying to settle it down somehow.
Mm-hmm. Well,
okay, that's cool.
Settle, I mean, we're not. We clearly are not, your dinner. So.
Okay.
Let's talk.
All right. I'm going to call that. So you're in risky position. You do get that +1 die,
yep.
But you're at 0 effect to start.
Okay.
It's not naturally likely to be pacifiable. That doesn't mean you can't achieve more effect. You could trade position for effect, so you could go to desperate limited. You could push for more effect. You could do some kind of setup action or a flashback now or via a flashback. Any of those things could get you more effect.
I'm going to persuade.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a dot in that. I am going to push.
Makes sense.
To shift effect.
Right, so you get +1 effect. That brings up so that brings it up to risky limited.
All right, so that gives me 2 die, risky limited.
Mm-hmm.
I've already used my assist from Hawthorne. Is there a way I could get an assist?
Someone else can still assist you. They just have to spend a stress.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like an assist for an extra die, please.
Hawthorne is not going to assist. Hawthorne's readying her rifle and does not see this. Like, she'll pause and watch this happen, and then just be like, "Mika, you're gonna get swallowed whole." Like,
She's not interfering.
Yeah.
It's an important lesson that Mika needs to learn.
Solid.
From inside this
Hey, she's a bite-sized person, you know. Maybe
As
she needs to be
Titus is pulling out the warhammer of, or whatever.
Okay,
I thought Titus
so-
might try to help just to be the one getting swallowed.
So Titus not help. Okay, so I'm gonna go with 2 die.
You could so from risky limited, you could go to desperate standard if you want. You can trade position for effect, so you can get more effect by going to a more dangerous position.
Is this starting as a clock, or is this a...
This is a roll, right?
This is a roll. Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll, yeah, I will say that the effect you'll achieve will be based on a clock. If you want to continue with this, you can always decide, that as we're talking about this, you can decide, I don't want to do that afterwards. After all, so don't feel like you're stuck with your choice of actions.
No, she's 100% like hi.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So I'll definitely go for desperate standard.
Desperate standard. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Interesting. So, so you're making things more risky. How are you taking more risk? What are you doing to take more risk for more effect?
I've left my mount,
Mm-hmm.
and I've stepped
And you're
forward.
moving
I've
further
basically put
forward.
myself into a much more, dangerous
Risky
position.
situation, but you're also kind of establishing yourself as not a threat and assuming that things are going to be friendly. Okay.
Oh, I'm roaring with Spike's help to try to, like.
Mm-hmm.
This is its language, everybody.
Yes, because obviously gaze hounds can talk to zombie mud monsters.
Maybe, maybe this is its love language. You never know.
You never know. Okay.
All right.
So nice for standard.
Oh, got a 4.
I mean, that's a success.
It's a success. Not a great success.
Not a. It could certainly be worse.
It could be much worse.
All right. So you will start to get the creature to be at least neutral for you. Yeah. However, you also have a desperate consequence as a result. So I'm going to say that the consequence is that another one has formed from a little bit further back, and both of them are roaring at you. So,
I'm gonna resist that.
Okay. Totally.
I am gonna resist that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can certainly do that. I would probably call that a resolve resist.
Okay.
So you can make a fortune roll with 2 dice to see how many stress that costs you.
Okay. Oops.
Okay.
6. Okay, so that costs you 0 stress. So that's not gonna eliminate the consequence. It will reduce it. So I'm gonna say that instead of another creature appearing, that I'm creating a clock.
For the creature losing its epic.
No, that more are being formed, but a new one hasn't
Okay.
formed. So
What color is the crystal in its eye? Is
Red
it
as
orange?
yeah, it's a no, it's actually a glowing. Um, it's kind of multicolored, so it's got it glows with
Shimmer?
a rainbow sort of light.
well. A rainbow crystal cyclops dinosaur.
Yeah.
Just making sure I have a proper picture in my mind.
Yeah.
Is this this is Titus more to Ithacus? Is this a intelligent creature, or was this? I guess.
The and Ithaca says that the Titans were uh, very smart beasts, but they were beasts.
Is
This
this
is
where we can hear it, or is
this
this
ha-
in his head?
I think this is in head, but
Okay.
Titus will relay out loud.
and this is not. This has the form, but it is not a Titan.
Fair. Uh, this one way or another should not be a sentient uh, beast.
Is it from Ilium?
Its bones were whatever it is now. Its form certainly is, but this is not. Is the crystal alien actually? That's the other question.
Yes.
Okay. So this seems to have the shape and form, but obviously reanimated to some sort of creature. What is our goal here, guys?
Not to die.
Well, that's the thing. Is are we trying to find out anything specific, or is this good enough to head back to the rest of the expedition and report findings? Not to be the one to be like, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't fight the giant cyclops dinosaur. But
I'm sorry. Yeah, is Titus? Are you suggesting Titus doesn't want to fight this thing?
He does, but it'll still be here, right? When we come back, it's
Nothing
So
is certain.
One is just more Titans, and that has one tick on it. It's a 4 o'clock. I created another 4 o'clock that, based on Mika's actions, it is called Beast is Neutral. It's also a 4 o'clock, and because she went for standard effect, it has two ticks, two segments marked. Okay.
I mean, we can try and kind of pacify this thing. I'm not sure what we gain necessarily.
Mm-hmm. It is roaring and sort of doing a little getting
Pulling itself out of the mud.
and looks like it's getting ready to charge. And Ithacus very helpfully says, "It's getting ready to charge."
He knows these things.
Thank you, Ithacus.
Thank you, Ithacus. I as much as I would love to fight one of these things, this might be a good chance to let the rest of the retreat a safe distance and let the rest of the expedition know. Because I mean, we're not going to grab the crystal right now, and I don't know how many of these things are going to form. And
have we seen any other crystals? It wasn't in the forefront of any descriptions, but have there been crystals scattered anywhere in the area? Is this the first time we're seeing one of these? Because Ilium was known for crystals.
Yep. You haven't found any. You haven't
We haven't been searching for them.
Unless you want to flash back to specific searching activities you've been making. But through your just natural travels, I wouldn't say that you found any such things.
Actually, maybe we want to get hold of one of those crystals then.
Yeah, duh.
Please tell me that she says "duh" out loud.
No, that's not Hawthorne.
No.
Hawthorne will call out to Ravi, and I want to rig up some sort of like tripwire, very large tripwire for a dinosaur.
Okay.
So I want to put something between us and it. So if it's running at us, hopefully it stumbles and falls. I don't know if you want to state it as a setup action for something else or just its own action.
Well, you're the one who would decide whether you would treat that as a setup action or whether you're actually trying to just, achieve its own effect.
Sure. I don't know if there's anybody looking to follow up on that. I mean,
thinking if you set up the tripwire, I could have Titus basically lead it into the trap.
Yeah, go for it. Perfect.
Okay.
All
right.
Either way, I've got craft.
Yes, you do.
Which is what I'm looking to use. So I've got 2 dice for craft. Are we still at risky? I assume we haven't devolved the situation quite yet.
Yeah, I think at this point you're still at risky. So you're basically declaring you have some kind of strong wire available to you, which is totally reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And are you trying to use any kind of arcane technique, or are you just physically create?
Just physically? Yeah, I don't think there's. Yeah, I don't suspect that this is like. I mean, it's clearly some sort of weird magical construct, but I don't know anything specific about it. I'm literally just trying to make it trip. Okay. And like I said, I'm kind of working with Ravi, but that isn't necessarily like an assist or anything like that. I've got 2 dice.
You can say that she's, sort of taking one side of this, and you're taking the other side of this, and you're each finding a spot, the right spot to tie it down to. That's going to be right in its path.
And is it standard effect?
Yeah, let's call it standard effect, and what that means is that you will, give improved effect to Titus if he's doing some kind of action to lead it into a trap or etc. So I'll call it risky standard.
Sure.
You take a risk by being in front of this creature.
Yeah, not running away quick enough. Jared, do you mind rolling 2 dice for me? I'm not going to manipulate that in any way. I'm just going to take it as it is.
Risky standard.
Alrighty. So that's going to be action. 2 dice. Risky. Just kidding. I have to not type out risky. I just have to do the R.
That's a 6. And full success. A 6. Excellent. You folks are rolling pretty well today.
All the good rolls are gone.
I was about to say, nobody say anything. Nobody say anything.
No, you just have to believe, okay? Hawthorne has supreme confidence.
All right, you and Ravi managed to kind of distract the creature while you set up this tripwire right in front of it. As it's getting ready to charge, it's doing some kind of, battle display at you for a few moments while you do that. Titus, were you going to do something?
I think, Titus is going to ride up, because I imagine it's somewhat focused on Mika, because Mika made sure to get its attention. So Titus is riding up, because she's abandoned her mount.
Yes.
So Titus will ride up next to her, and I don't know how much she's going to struggle, but he will bodily pick her up, up onto the saddle, and we are going to run in 3, 2, And then when it starts to charge, basically he's gonna turn and see if he can lead it to the tripwire.
I think you said Mika weighs like 98 pounds or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
She's a little slip of a thing.
Okay.
And she squeaks when he picks her up. She just gives out the squeak.
Okay. You squeak.
In surprise.
Cinematically.
Yes.
And
exactly.
what are you trying? So I'm not gonna make you roll to pick up Mika unless she's trying to stop you.
Nope.
What are you trying to achieve, Titus?
So this feels like Titus is trying to lead it to that tripwire,
Okay.
basically to trip it up and then get a better, everything at it. This feels like contrived.
Yeah. Okay. So you're enacting a clever plan. That sounds very reasonable there. I'm going to call that risky greater because of the setup that is for you. So it's the wire is in a perfect position.
I think I can assist.
I think you can.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
How I'm assisting is by not fighting back and not making it difficult.
Yeah.
Devil's bargain. So the dumb devil's bargain here would be Titus is sacrificing the mount. Do I want to do that?
Well,
so that would be one devil's bargain.
That's actually a pretty decent devil's bargain.
It's actually a pretty decent one, and I feel like that'd be the most obvious.
Right. Another one would be to add segments to that. There are more clock.
No.
We already have the one. I'm gonna go with Titus is gonna sacrifice the mount. We have other mounts. 2 people can fit on one. It's good.
Yeah.
But it will be a bit of a disadvantage.
I'm a tiny little thing, so.
Yep. Okay, cool. So that is 3 die then, in the end.
3 dice. The kiss of death.
I know it's. Don't jinx it.
Oh, I jinx you.
Oh. At 2. All right. Oh, I'm afraid to hit the hunter. Okay, here we go. Okay, there's a 4 in there. That 3rd dice was worth it.
All right, mixed success.
I'll take it.
All right. So you do manage to trip this thing up, and what happens is that the wire just slides right through its flesh and hits bone underneath, but messes the creature up as it trips forward. It does get its teeth into your mount, and you both have to jump off of your mount. And I'm going to say that the consequence that you experience is, I'm going to call that level 2 harm. That it manages to get, that as you roll off of the beast, you get concussed as a result. Since,
it's a rough landing.
Not like you would ever wear it like a helmet or anything like that.
And I land on top of you, so that doesn't help.
I mean, I just don't believe in resisting consequences. So.
Can I ask a question really quick?
Yeah.
With an assist from a player, does the consequence get spread out to both, or is that only if we declare it as a group action?
So the game doesn't specifically state that. Obviously, in a consequence could apply to multiple people, and if you wanted to step in and protect Titus, you could take the consequence instead of him, if that made sense in the fiction.
Sure. I was just curious if it was affecting Mika as well in this case.
Yeah, no. I
not by default.
Okay.
And Mika's not trying to protect him because, I mean, he dies a lot.
Right, there wouldn't be a whole lot of point. No, I think that Mika, you roll off, and there is a big pile of ash that you find that you just roll right into, and so it kind of cushions your fall. And most people would think, hey, that was really lucky. And Mika just thinks, well, this is just what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
Does the monster go down to the
There's
ground,
a little bit
or
of
is
ash
it?
on you, but it just flows away. It actually creates a very stunning effect of just ash flowing away from Mika as she stands.
I could see concussed or when basically they have to leap from the unicorn thing. It does have that serrated lower two
Right.
horn thing that
Okay.
Titus might have not fully cleared.
Uh-huh. Do you think that that would be more interesting in cinematic?
I think that's more cinematic, so we
That
get
is
a
totally
nice.
fine with me. Yeah, if you like that better. So
Nice gash.
Titus is now in the state of having both of his level 1 harm boxes filled and both of his level 2 harm boxes filled.
We're just waiting for him to die at this point.
Normally that would significantly impair you. However, you have a special ability that says that you can that the effective harm is dropped by 1 level. But once you take level 3 harm, which seems inevitable at this point,
Solid point.
then you will be in a situation where you'll need to spend 1 stress or take -1 effect on rolls that are affected by your harm. So you're not invulnerable to any kind of damage.
No, he's starting to take damage.
But you're looking pretty messed up. You are stabbed, you are gashed and torn, you have a bitten forearm, and also you have some mind burn.
Yep.
Okay.
It's easy.
So
Titus has the classic action hero look, like John Wick, like he's the John Wick look of he's beaten up, but he's still
all the things. Yeah. So the makeup artists have been adding extra stuff. And each new shot, they have to make sure that they have don't make any continuity errors with where where the makeup is.
Exactly.
Is the beast grounded at that point?
Yeah, it has fallen, and it is. It has the unicorn creature in its mouth and is ripping it apart.
We give it dinner.
Perfect time, Titus.
Yeah, sure. Titus will spring to his feet. We want that crystal, right? Do we want
Or Mika could charge forward and try to make friends with it.
Mika, quick, make friends with it now.
Now that you've given dinner.
So you want the crystal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mika's gonna go over and grab a piece of crystal.
It's its eyeball.
Okay.
It's its face.
You're trying to.
You're like ripping its eye out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking crystal from. Okay.
Yeah, we weren't. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you can't do it. You just want to understand what's happening.
No.
Alrighty. I guess Titus will
Okay.
go and try and grab himself some crystal. Unless Hawthorne, you want to step in here?
I'll allow you.
She's like, be my guest. We haven't seen you die recently.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully it's not too fragile. So now when it's distracted, Titus is gonna spring up, kind of warhammer in hand, and he's going to try and use that warhammer to try and kind of bash out the crystal eye from the skull.
So you're kind of playing golf with its eye?
Yeah.
Essentially.
More like polo, but...
Interesting. So the effect you're trying to achieve is to take its eye completely out and recover it?
That would be the idea.
Okay, interesting. All right. And what action are you using for that?
I'm hoping to use engage.
Reasonable. Yeah, you are contending physically with an opponent, so that fits pretty well. I'm going to call this. It's a little awkward to try to bash an eye out of a creature, so I'm going to call it risky limited. But you can of course push or do other things to get more effect. You can get standard effect. I'll say you'll get the eye out.
I will push, and because I'm pushing myself in melee, I also get to trigger Mighty. So I think that'll help.
Do you want an assist? I was gonna have Hawthorne throw you like a spear because you're clearly wielding the wrong weapon for this.
Oh, that might be useful. Sure. So like kind
Throw
of
you a pry bar style implement.
crowbar, Gordon Freeman style.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, sure. I will. I'll
So you're
take it.
getting this assist, so that's going to be 4 dice. When you push yourself in melee, then you get an extra bonus. There are several things you could choose from. Which are you choosing?
That is a question. Let's see. So negate an advantage, close in and grapple. Close in and grapple almost kind of makes sense if you're trying to rip an eye out.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So it is a giant creature to be grappling with.
or, and this actually might be useful for the future, find a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I think find a weakness. So if more of these things show up, we at least know something of kind of how to take them down. I think that makes sense.
Solid.
So basically, you're doing. So at the same time you are battling with this creature, you're essentially doing gather information at the same time.
I mean, this is the best way to gather information is find a thing until you know how to
Only
kill
way
it.
he gathers information.
Okay. So risky standard,
Okay, risky standard. I'll take it.
4 dice. So can't possibly fail that.
Don't say that out loud.
I'm the GM. I'm required to.
Oh my goodness, that was close.
And
Oh,
a
that's
4.
That's a 4.
Right.
Wait a second. You got a 4 on 4 dice?
Yep, that's the best.
3 of those dice were under 3.
Fail.
So
the extra die really helped.
that was close.
Hawthorne
Yeah.
carrying the team.
That's it.
All right, so we have a mixed success. So you do manage to cut the thing's eye out. You will also gather some useful information about weaknesses, but at the same time, you're taking.
Some level 3 harm.
I want to say you want to. Well, so it's risky, which would normally be level 2 harm. But because both of your level 2 harm boxes are filled, that jumps up to level 3 harm, which you could choose to resist.
I might choose to resist that just for funsies.
Okay. You do have two available stress boxes, so you can resist.
I will do that.
And that is like a prowess resist, so you'd have 2 dice for that.
Sounds good. And that's all my stress. That's fine though.
Okay. Oh yeah. So you're stressed out. You're exhausted, but you do resist. I will and we'll say that eliminates that that harm.
Can we say that since he's essentially exhausted, he kind of stumbles back and Mika happens to be in the exact perfect position to get under his arm and help get him out of there?
Sure. Although he weighs like 3 times as much as you.
Yeah, but it's a matter of leverage. It's
leverage
not,
and
yeah.
and you're very strong.
I'm strong as hell for a tiny little person.
Yeah. So he's actually, I think he's a bit surprised at how, even though you're teeny, you actually can use a bunch of force. Yep.
Then you just stab him again. Just a reminder.
So you have this eye in your hand, and
how's the beast feel?
The beast is not doing well. It's writhing around, making lots of noise, and you can kind of feel a shake in the ground as you pull away from it. So you're having to be careful to be away from it. And what happens is it melts.
Oh. Huh.
Cool. Very cool.
And what feels like happens is that it's just no longer maintaining its cohesion as a pulled together artificial thing, and melts into blobs of mud and miscellaneous.
Well, for learning a weakness, that's a pretty good weakness right there. Damn.
Aim for the eye.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's a pretty common weakness for most living things.
Yeah, if you stab me in the eye, that's going to have an effect.
Yeah,
So,
but
my one weakness, my eyes. Don't stab those.
But I think, let's see, I'm going to say that you, because that's such an obvious one, and you do have that extra ability. Um, I want to say that you also, as you're grasping onto this eye, this crystal thing, you get a jolt of power as you kind of feel that in your hand, and you notice a surge in the remains of the obelisk at the same time. Like you get a feel like there's a connection. So I want to give you some extra information out of that.
Ooh, yep, okay. So definitely related to the obelisk and potentially I mean, I don't know if there's a range limitation to this, but this might be something just to be aware of. Or even trying to disrupt that connection.
Possibly.